leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Leave me alone. Please.
Just talk to me for 2 minutes and I'll leave you alone.
Oh, God. It's too damn early for this shit. Leave me alone.
How do you dress like this? What are you a prostitute? I'm curious.
Sir, please leave.
That's okay. I don't care.
Leave me alone.
All you want.
I don't want proof of this. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Leave me alone. Please.
Just talk to me for 2 minutes and I'll leave you alone.
Oh, God. It's too damn early for this shit. Leave me alone.
How do you dress like this? What are you a prostitute? I'm curious.
Sir, please leave.
That's okay. I don't
Make you feel? You're filming my father and my fucking sister. How does this make you
Is that
feel?
the one that put all those scratches on your arm? You want to see the
Scratches?
pictures? You want,
I got
I
scratches.
can show you the pictures right now.
No, I want you to leave my family fucking alone.
Keep hanging outside of there.
Monkey, hit the road. Dude, I promise you, you're gonna get yours and you're
I
gonna
don't
get
give a
it
fuck.
good.
You can bring whoever the fuck you want.
That's okay. You're
You
gonna
can
find
bring
Is that
the
a
whole fucking
threat?
army. I don't give a fuck.
This make you feel? You're filming.
Hi, this is Cynthia Ortiz. It is the 14th of May, 2022. These are the Charles Perry Stalker podcasts. I get the same thing, Mr. Perry telling me, I'm going to get you, and I've got pictures of you. Well, you've been accused of stalking me, so, yeah, you are nutty. You're nuttier than a fruitcake. Mr. Perry also types in my phone, I win the civil cases. You know, you need to come home. I don't want anything to do with you. And I am home. You're a whack job. And you cheated in court. There's not been any kind of normal court hearing where both parties are present, evidence is presented. I'm able to present witnesses for myself and cross-examine yours or put you on the stand. And everybody's noticed that, Mr. Perry. You have done, there's now 4. In fact, a reporter commented on Mr. Neely's case. Had she, she said, give back what you took. I don't want your bribe money. You owe legitimate money. Pay that, get Michael Neely home, and get the fuck out of my life. I've been saying since 2014, leave me alone. Actually, before that. This is the one that I have in writing because I was trying to be very discreet and, out of respect for Mr. Perry's family. He has a wife named Jacqueline and 2 kids, Jordan and Matthew. And out of respect for them, I kept my mouth shut for 4 years and didn't tell anybody what he was doing to me. I went to his staff, and there was only a couple of people that knew, my close friends. Initially, the friends that I told didn't live in Texas, and I had a political consulting career. I didn't want that messed up with the scandal. I had 2 little boys that I was raising by myself. Didn't want them to get all, jammed up in a scandal like, I just didn't want to deal with it. Drama. I don't like drama. Most people don't. Perry's a soap opera queen. I mean, people make fun of him. I don't think he understands how much people hate him for what he's putting me through and the Neelys through, or Mr. Robertson and their little crowd of weird. And people don't like suffering. They don't like abuse and suffering. And that's why we have laws that protect us from that kind of thing. And they don't seem to get that. It's unbelievable. I've not seen a group of men so stupid in my entire life. I've worked, in medical, so I dealt with surgeons and I dealt with elected officials on a federal level, and I don't understand the mental slows that I'm having to deal with these people. The laws are put in place to protect us. Courts are to be done fair. The tribunal is to protect us from, to apply the law and protect us from injury, and so are police. So, they've got some explaining to do yet to come in another court that they have not seemed to. I mean, they all want to know how I find out what they're trying to do to me before they do it. And like we saw with the McNamara email and so many other, there's 36,000. There's like 583 just from August of last year. So I don't think they're all there. That they're not connecting. If she's finding this stuff out, somebody's helping her in law enforcement, and somebody has those actual recordings that she's typing up. So we're in some trouble. We're just gonna keep doing it. We're just gonna keep fucking with her. And when they fuck with me, they get told on. You know, the thing in the Bible, as a man thinketh, so shall he be. You're not loved or wanted, Mr. Perry. You're told on. And that's been that case ever since you've met me. Your crime is just getting more uncovered and more uncovered. And I understand you paid $25 million plus for a cover up you didn't get. And your claims, you throwing this in my face. I win in civil court. What did you think I was going to do? I'm pissed about that. That doesn't make me happy. It does speak to your delusion that you think it would. I guess he's gone around and told everybody, oh, she secretly loves me. She's just got these guys that she's too afraid to say who they are, and they've put pressure on her. No, they're protecting me from you. They are very, very much protecting me from you, because there's a lot of things that you were not able to do to me, to hurt me, to cause harm, because they protected me. So, what these podcasts are to express my intent. And my intent is, I don't like you. I want you to leave me alone. I want you to get out of my life. And that's my wish. That's what I want. That's what I need. That's my right, legally, also. It is the law, and you're breaking the law. And so you don't have a date. No woman's holding your hand. There's no dinner. There's no movie. There's nothing, because I don't want that. What I want is for you to be gone, all of you. So he's got a criminal organization. But what the reporter said is, instead of the bribe, I'll take all your money away from you, so you're basically starving to death. And then you won't have any choice but to take the bribe and lie for me. I've got this house, I've got this car, blah, blah, blah. And basically the house is a dungeon, in my opinion. I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with you. This is a free country, and you're trying to do slavery here. And it's illegal, and you're being caught. You're not wanted. You're not loved. You're being caught. You've not been caught this much in your lives, and you don't seem to get that. And none of us understand why in the hell you're that mentally slow that you can't get what's happening. You act like you have no idea. We think that you need to be in a nursing home. So our shrink is like, he doesn't understand what people are saying to him, and he can't process what's happening. Because for him to ask 1 minute who told on me and not understand what that means, and to keep going at it, it shows that he's not understanding what you're saying. He never responds appropriately like a normal, reasonable, prudent person would. In the situation where they're getting caught this much, he's responding like he just has no idea what you're talking about. He's deep in delusion, deep in it. This is not romantic. Leave me alone. That girl had to say that 6 times. And then he says, why are you dressed like a prostitute? Okay, but nobody asked you what you thought about her clothes. No one asked you. You weren't asked. You know what you were told to do? Leave her alone. And Mr. Perry does the same thing. It's like you're having 2 different conversations. It's like you're in 2 different, you're talking. She's telling him, there's a conversation here. She's telling him, leave me alone. And he's talking about her clothes. It's like 2 different conversations there, even though it's the same 2 people talking. And everybody on the outside is going, wow, what a whack job. Like, he's not all there mentally. You can't be all there mentally and have that kind of conversation. He's not responding appropriately to what she's saying. She's saying, leave me alone. And any normal guy would leave her alone at that point and go find a woman that wants to talk to him. That he's not, though. She's repeating herself, just like I have to repeat the same thing over and over and over. Mr. Perry's like it goes right over his head. Doesn't get it. Doesn't have a clue what I'm saying. So, it's like there's 2 different worlds here. One is his pretend imaginary world, and then there's the real world. The real world is he's a reject. He's a failure. I don't like him. He's abusive, he's cruel, and everybody's sick and tired of dealing with it. And these men don't get that. They're an imposition and a burden. We don't want to deal with it. In this country, it is illegal to stalk a woman. It is illegal to hack and peep. You're a peeping Tom because you can't get a real date. You don't have any power. You're weak. You're impotent, and you're a slave to your strange desires. Your desires are far, far outside social norms and you need help. You need some help. You're not understanding what people say to you. You don't get it. You're not getting it. And by now you should. So the reporter's like, if they had done what she said and gotten Michael home and said, well, yeah, everybody can see he has nothing on him that looks like he was in a fight. So clearly he didn't do it. And we don't want that suspicion on us. So let's get him home. Let's find out who did this. We support the blue. We back the blue. We support cops, our police. And if she now continued to, had they done that, and now she continued to assert that they killed Chief Miller and framed Mike, then we would say she's wrong, if not a little crazy, because they got Mike home, and she's doing good, so no reason to think that. But you got now 4 court proceedings. She's not in it. She's never there. There's never a fair hearing. There's never a fair trial. So in order for there to be a fair trial, everybody has to be there. There's all these secret ex parte, underhanded backroom deals. The first hearing that I was in, I remember I've not been to law school. I'm up against 5 attorneys who are seasoned. They're not fresh out of law school. They're seasoned. And all this money, and I've got nothing. And so for them not to let me in court, frankly, as a pat on the back for me, I did a good job studying the law, teaching myself the law. They act like I'm some stupid, I guess they told everybody, oh, she's just a stupid stripper. No, I'm not actually. I actually got a lot of evidence dancing. They all want me to go dance again, and I've said no. I'm done dancing. You're dangerous to me. They've pushed and pushed and pushed and coaxed and coaxed and coaxed. And I don't know why. I mean, I have no idea why they have any expectation at all that I'm going to they go, okay, I'll do what you want. Why the hell do you think that at this point? Again, we're in delusion. We're not dealing with reality. When you're dealing in any given situation, you would have or what we do anyway, is evaluate each person. That's why we have a shrink involved, is evaluating each person's personalities, motivations, mindsets. What does this person want? What are they trying to get out of this? And what motivates them to do what they do? What are their morals? What are their values? What are their goals? What is their fiber of what makes them up? Because we have our morals, and I talked about it the other day with Anthony Robbins' studies that he has. He's talking about changing habits so that you can have a better life. Well, in order to evaluate why you do what you do, you have to make a list of your morals, your values, what you find important. Why do you find that important? What are your rules, your personal rules? And that's what motivates you to develop the habits that you develop, why you do what you do, or don't do what you do, what you don't do. Why don't you steal? Why do some people steal and some people don't? Well, there's, and there's whole professional schools of study, like criminology, victimology, to study these things. Why do people do what they do? Why the fuck would a man abuse a woman by taking all her money and then trying to make her into a slave? You'll take my bribe and lie, or else. Or I'll arrange another false arrest and you're going to sit in jail until you do what I tell you. Why would a man do that? In this day and age, as society's progressed along and there is equality, there are laws, there was a constitutional 14th Amendment of equal protection in the application of the laws. Everybody gets treated the same. And when not, it's discrimination, and there are consequences for discrimination, either against blacks, Hispanics, or women. Why in the world would you do that? There's equality. So with that said, I'll do the disclaimer real quick. Nobody's been found guilty in a court of law yet. Apply the but-for standard, but-for Mr. Perry's stalking and criminal activity directed at me, which he's been caught more than ever in his life. When he doesn't seem to understand that or why that is. But for that, we wouldn't do these. These are for our case, Mr. Perry, for our court case against you, your criminal case. You're about to go to prison. You seem like you just don't get that. You're getting caught more than ever in your life when you do this crime to me. And you seem like you have not a clue what that means. Yet you need a special ed teacher badly. It's pathetic that you can't put it together by now why you're being told on. You're not getting a date. You're getting told on. You act like you have no idea what those words mean. It's pathetic. I don't even know what to say to you. Apply the but for. We need to document the crime. We need to document the stalking. We need to document the illegal activity directed at me for our case against you. We wouldn't do these. These are for court. This is evidence. You don't have the right to tamper with it. Tampering with evidence is a crime too, by the way. You act like you have no idea what that means. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Apply the reasonable, prudent individual standard. What would any reasonable, prudent person do in my situation? Exactly what I'm doing. I've been instructed by law enforcement to do this, and you don't get to impede it. You like to obstruct justice. We get that. You've done it over and over and over and over. You have your habits. We have a shrink that evaluates your habits, and then we set up our strategies accordingly. We've caught your crime more than anybody else in your life has. So what we're doing is working. My bank account reflects that. Where I live reflects that. What I drive reflects that. You don't attack somebody that's not effective. We're very effective. We're very good at what we do. We've done what nobody else has done. And again, you act like you have no idea what that means. I don't even know what to say. I've never seen anybody this mentally slow in my life. I had patients who had Down syndrome that could get there faster in their head than you. It's pathetic. It is absolutely embarrassing and pathetic that you can't get a grip on reality better than this by now. All of you. That goes for all of you. David, you too. We thought you were the smart one, David. And we assert all constitutional rights. I have the right to speak out just like that other girl does. Just like Polly Peretti does. Just like Sandra Bullock. Just like David Letterman. Everybody who's been a victim of stalking gets to talk about it. It is illegal for you to try to impede that. Anything good, you try to ruin it. Everything's an ordeal with you. Everything's a drama with you. Everything's a problem. Everything that should take 5 minutes takes hours because you make a big old fucking mess of it, and we gotta fix it. And it costs a whole lot of time and a whole lot of money for other people, and you don't have that right, sir. You have not that right. So people have noticed that I'm never in court. So you didn't win shit, and you pissed me off. I'm not happy about it. And why you thought I would be, nobody understands that. Nobody understands why you think sticking that in my face. I cheated in court. I bought a judge, and I won. Come home. I am home, delusional. Stop making a fool of yourself. You embarrass the hell out of me. I don't know what your family thinks. Jackie, Jordan, and Matthew. Where are they when you're bothering me? When you're sitting on your fat, lazy ass, raping me in the privacy of my home against my will. You do owe $1,000 a day for doing that to me. You don't have my consent. You don't have my permission. You're breaking the law. You are to comply with the law. You are to comply with the law, sir. Get off your fat, lazy ass, stop perverting around, and go work, and go be with your family, and get off me and mine. You don't have a choice. As many times as you've been told on, why in the fuck do you think you have a choice, Mr. Perry? No one understands that. You're coaxing me to dance. It has been duly noted for the record. I've quit dancing. Go away. Butt out. Butt out. They have a whole criminal... So the first time I'm in court, the judge actually denied my motion to dismiss. In the case of the 10th Circuit, Employer Mutual Benefits versus Bartile Roofs. Okay, that's not correct. The judge denied Charles Perry's motion to dismiss. So, okay, so this, I'm having to record over a recording because Mr. Perry just stopped it. And there's been times where he's causing a skip, so my words are different than what I actually said. The other day I did one that said that if Officer Neely gets out of jail because of anything I've done, he wouldn't owe me a thank you. I owe him an apology. And it said something completely different. It said he wouldn't owe me I would say he wouldn't owe me an apology. Well, why would he owe me an apology? I mean, that didn't even make sense. So what happened is Mr. Perry's hacked my phone. So when I do these recordings, he'll cause skips in it. So what I'm saying is different than what I actually said. So what I actually said about Officer Neely, if I'm able to help him get out of jail, and he would not owe me anything, not even a thank you. I feel like I owe him an apology. That I wish I hadn't called him. You have to file a police report to get a protective order in Oklahoma. You have to do it. It's the law. Marler versus Clower is the court case that held that. My first protective order was, that I went in and requested one in May 2015, was denied because I forgot the police report. Everybody knows that. And so we were in court when they vandalized my car. Every court hearing, every court case that I filed a lawsuit against these men to remedy what they've done to me, they have, as I'm saying here in this, made sure I'm not in court when they get claims dismissed. Mr. Perry has a very bad habit of concealing material facts from the deciding body. And everyone notices that. He's done it so much now, you can't miss it. And he's very mentally slow. He can't understand what you say to him. So he does not know that everybody notices this. He doesn't have any idea. And so he's continuing to type in my phone. I win civil court. Let's, call me. I've taken all your money. You're bankrupt. Call me. And we're all going, wow, but you're not getting it. You're like not getting it. I'm not a special education teacher. I wasn't trained for that. I don't have the patience for it. It's not my gift. I don't have finger paints and puppets and crayons to help you understand what's happening. You act like you don't get it. But everyone else does. And I'm embarrassed for you that you're that slow. So, again, people notice there's been now 3 civil lawsuits. I'm not there when claims are dismissed. There's not been a fair hearing. No evidence has been shown that you can see here on Facebook. You can see here on my podcast. You can see here on the blog. Anybody can see it. And everybody's going, wow, but the judge didn't see it. Clearly, when Pinto came to talk to me, that is a contact within the forum state of Oklahoma, and it caused an injury. It caused duress. What the hell is he doing there? He's soliciting prostitution for you. That's a crime. Both of them are a crime. One, he's contacting me, unwanted contact in the forum state of Oklahoma at my work, causing duress. Number 2, he's soliciting prostitution on your behalf. So, right there should have been an immediate injunctive order granted to me. There should have been a hearing, and there wasn't. You had a murder trial of a police officer that you killed just 6 days after I went to him for a, vandalism complaint. I don't know who did it, but I think it's probably them. Your job is to find out who did. And then 6 days later, he's almost dead, and then he's framed. And everybody's mad at you for putting them through that. And so you guys get told on all the time. So that's my point, is that he wouldn't, if I'm able to get him out, if we're able, we're going to get him out. But you've been given the opportunity to do the same, to make that right with him, to make amends. You've been given that chance. But he would never owe me what I said was he would never owe me a thank you. I feel like I owe him an apology. I wish I hadn't called you that day. I really do. And I'm sorry that they put you through all this. And Mr. Perry caused the skip, so it sounded like I said Mr. Neely wouldn't owe me an apology. Well, why would he owe me? Why would I say something like that? So he did the same thing here. And he just cut this off at the end. So I wasn't finished. Get out of my phone, bitch. Get out of my phone. Voyeurism, hacking, and peeping are crimes. Stalking is a crime. You're a criminal. You can't stop yourself, can you? No self-control. Criminologists say criminals have low IQ and no self-control. You have no control. Stalking is about control. You can't even control you. can't even understand what the fuck people say. So what I meant to say here is the first hearing I was in, Mr. Perry's motion to dismiss was denied. I didn't file a motion to dismiss. It was my lawsuit. So after that, they won't let me back in court. There's never a hearing I'm there to where things are done legally. Now, then I complained about it. So then we had a hearing on the motion to default against Lady Godivas. Well, the Oklahoma Supreme Court has said when there's a motion to default filed because of a failure to answer, there has to be some notice given, which they were given a lot of notice. I'm going to seek a motion to default against you because you didn't answer me. So Judge Morrissey said to the James Goodwin, their attorney, you got to file some kind of answer. Ms. Ortiz, would you filed something that's inappropriate? Would you like to wait until his answer is filed and then file an answer to that? And I said yes. Okay, then we'll have a hearing. And that's on the docket. You can see that there was something about another hearing. And then all of a sudden everything's just dismissed and there's no hearing. So we have over and over and over and over where there's judicial impropriety. There is Mr. Cummings never gives an answer in his rulings as to why he denied or dismissed. I'm not in a hearing. There's no case law cited. There's nothing. Because Mr. Perry took him duck hunting and they decided it out there duck hunting. So I guess it's a little hard to do your research when you're out duck hunting and you decide to sign off on an order with no reason. So, Mr. Perry, you did not win anything. Everything illegal that you all have done in the civil cases will be used against you in your criminal case. And I've said this. You know this. As well as Officer Neely's. It's called fraud upon a court. It's called perjury. Concealment of material facts when you have a duty to disclose them and you don't. When you intentionally conceal them because you don't want the judge to hear what I'm saying right now and it could change the outcome, you're going to go to jail. Mr. Perry, when I'm getting what you just said, and I know Blankenship and Calvin and all these people, and your little code words of Rumpelstiltskin and Ratatouille and Hansel and Gretel and Rapunzel and blah, blah, blah. You pin the tail on the donkey. Those are your criminal organization's code words for what crime you're going to commit against me next. And we have that information, and no one has had that information before now. And you act like you have no idea what that means, all of you. And we're embarrassed for you, that you're that stupid, that you're this caught. And there's a disconnect for you that you cannot understand what it means that you're this caught. Mr. Perry, you are caught. There's no date. And you act like you don't know what that means. And I'm embarrassed for you and by you. You're never going to get a date with me. I don't care what you did in court. You're going to jail for what you did in court. You really need to understand what's happening here. And you act like you don't know. And I'm not a special ed teacher, and now you're just fucking pissing me off because you're stupid. And I don't like it. I can't stand it. If you're still contacting me, you're committing a crime, and I'm tired of it. Everybody's sick and tired of y'all. Everybody's tired of y'all. And your sick little games you play. Everybody's sick and tired of you. And that is why you're told on. More than ever in your life. And you need to understand what words are, what that means. And you don't. And we don't even know what to say. But nobody knows what to say to that. So let me finish this. The companies were incorporated in one state and did work in another state. The judges, so they're incorporated in one state. They sign a contract in one state. So there's multiple states involved here as to where they're incorporated and domiciled, or where the contract is signed and where the work is done. The 10th Circuit ruled in that case that the court that had jurisdiction was where the injury occurred, where the work was done. There was some work that went bad. That's the court that had jurisdiction. The injuries have occurred in Oklahoma because that's where I am. You gotta go where I am. I moved twice to get the fuck away from you and your weirdo problems and the embarrassment. and the humiliation of having a weirdo just go at me and go. I mean, I don't even. There's nothing sexy about you. Nothing. You're a bizarre bore. Every day, all day. You're intent on being that and nothing better. So, the court ruled that that's where that's the state where the injury occurred is who had jurisdiction, and so that gave the court in the very first lawsuit that I filed in the federal courts, that gave that court jurisdiction. Next, we had Pinto coming into my work and telling me he'll give you $5,000 to sleep with him. Well, that right there, I filed an immediate request for an injunctive order, and there should have been a hearing right there. The court should have taken jurisdiction right there. And then we should have started hearings and trials and all that. So, why it got transferred to Lubbock, everybody's confused. How the hell did that happen if that's not legal? Because at that point, you got a guy coming where I am in Oklahoma, causing an injury to me. I said, don't contact me at all. Not directly, not through proxy. You comply with the law. You're about to go to prison. You're getting told on. You seem not to understand what those words mean. You're rejected. I don't like you. I'm not in love with you. I guess Mr. Perry has told a bunch of different stories. He comes up here, he's told people that there's a political vendetta and actually had me put in jail for his imaginary political vendetta. Or he's unable, Josh, Joe, and Matt, I'm sorry, not Joe, Charles, Matthew Powell, and Joshua Burson are unable to properly identify Mr. Perry's legislative duties or what state he legislates in. Because they went into a court of law and under oath and penalty of perjury testified that I filed a false police report in retaliation for the job of being a senator. I didn't give a shit about his job as a senator. Never did. I helped him get elected so police could get to him. He got elected because of me. Because I had a lot of people hated his guts. Never have I in my life been cussed out for supporting somebody's election like I was cussed out for supporting Mr. Perry's. He's a monster. I'm not the only victim. So we have a witness that says he goes around, trolls women. He's a troll. He's a stalker, a serial. He'll find women who are divorced with kids and he puts cameras in their homes. And then he sells watch time on the dark web all over the world. Their bodies, their home, their utilities, and a lot of times their internet service. What in the fuck is wrong with someone that does that? That is child pornography. That is sexual exploitation. You're in a lot of trouble. You're in deep. So, my kids and I have been a victim. People have watched you torture, torment, and starve all of us. Lucky and Mike were talking about Jeff Epstein hours before that murder because it just landed on their desk. 6 days before, I filed a car vandalism complaint. Didn't know who did it, but it might be the guy stalking me, Mr. Perry, and David Robertson. We're all in court right now. And I've requested a protective order. My protective order should have had a hearing at 14 days, and it didn't. Again, we got a place where there should have been a hearing, and there wasn't. When I filed the motion to intervene for Mike Neely, there should have been a hearing on to whether or not I had standing to do that, and there wasn't. So, Mr. Perry, you are off your nut if you think you're fooling people at this point. As many court cases as there have been, where there should have been a hearing and there wasn't, there should have been a fair trial and there wasn't, and you think you won. We're laughing at you. Again, no grasp on reality, complete disconnect here. And so, just like Neil, no one asked you, Neil, what you think about her clothes. It's like you're having a conversation with somebody else, but you're not having one with her, because what she said is leave me alone, and you didn't respond appropriately. You don't either, Mr. Perry. You need to understand how many people laugh at you behind your back, because you act like you have no idea what people say. It's so embarrassing. You should be embarrassed. Why aren't you embarrassed? We all want to know. Why are you not embarrassed like you make everybody else? So, this witness says he'll get these women fired, and then he makes sure they can't find another job, and then they lose their home, and then he has the ex take the kids away. So you've got little children whose world is being blown up, crushing little baby souls, and you don't have the right to do that. He said Mr. Perry's a sexual sadist. He enjoys getting women hysterical, and then he'll go rub one out. And I'm quoting a witness. It's a sex crime. You're a sex offender. How embarrassing. And that's the best you can do. And you think it's a date every time you get told on. Nope, it's not. It's just crime, and this is crime fighting, and I'm very, very good at it, or you wouldn't attack me. I'm very good at it. My bank account and where I live and what I drive says I'm excellent at what I do. Because you have attacked me like a motherfucker with your crime, and you've not been this caught in your life. And I'm very proud of that. My granddad would be very, very proud of me. My granddad was the chief of police in Roswell, New Mexico. His name is still on the front door of the police station where he served as chief. And he helped set up those UFO museums too. We know what really happened out there. I'm not going to talk about that, but he was, found a way to bring money into his town. He was a city councilman. He was an elected official. My family was the power in the town where I grew up, Mr. Perry. You have no idea what that's like to grow up like that. Clearly, you have no class. I mean, we were expected to behave. We're the chief's grandkids. We're the chief's grandkids. We had to behave. And you have no idea how to do that. You can tell. It's like you were raised with wolves or something. I don't know, but that's not, here's the thing is we can't choose what happens to us, but we can choose what we do with what happens to us. And you have chosen to become a skank. And use your childhood, whatever, trailer park, whatever the hell happened, you choose to use it as an excuse to fail. I'm sorry for you that's the best you can do. I've mentioned Lonnie Evans, who is a criminologist. He was, abused severely as a child, and he chose to do good with it. He's trying to find a way to fight crime by studying criminology and understanding why the fuck anyone would do that to another person. Why the fuck would you do that to another human being? That's what criminology is. Everybody wonders that, Charles. Why the fuck do you do this shit? Women don't, you don't like women. Our shrink was like, if you like women, you do what women like. Women hate being peeped on and abused. And robbed blind and lose their homes and some guy button into their life they don't like and making phone calls to their friends and family and bullshitting. So, Mr. Perry, you're repulsive to me. You're repulsive to even prisoners. You're repulsive to even prisoners. You can't figure out how to get women to like you. You're alone. 12 years you're rejected and alone. You're trying to coerce and force me to do something and say something against my will. You want me to go dance and I've said no. Why? What's it to you? You're not supposed to be in my life at all. I don't want you in my life at all. I don't like you. He types in my phone, I love you, I want you home. Listen, you're on another planet. I don't like you. I don't want you. I moved twice to get away from you. Understand what those words mean. Get a shrink. Get a special ed teacher. Get your puppets and your crayons out. Stupid. But you better start understanding what I'm saying. Because you got people laughing at you behind your back and you're embarrassing everybody. That you can't get what those words mean. You're making a fool of yourself. It's unbelievable. You're not going to get me. Your threat, though, has been duly noted for the record. Okay? You threaten me every day. Car loss, false arrest, home loss. You carried out the home loss. Again, you did exactly what the witness said. You've called people that I would get work for and told them not to hire me. David, we heard you. My parents owe me money. You called them, told them not to give it to me. I heard the recording. You guys recorded all the fucking time. There's leaks and wiretap orders all over the place. You act like you have no idea. Don't ask who told. Don't ask. You don't care about that, which you're not getting what that even means. Or you'd stop doing it. You'd stop doing it. You act like you have no idea what that even means. It's pathetic. I don't even know what to say. So, I mean, I can't do this alone. There's no fucking way I could do. I don't have the ability to do this alone. But everybody can see though that I have not a lick of law school, and that there's a reason you're not letting me in court. And that hurt Mike Neely, and that hurt his family, and he's a cop, and I come from 4 generations of cop. He's cop family. And you don't get to do that and get away with it. So when you get told on, that's what that is. You're not getting away with it. I have help. I can't do that by myself. I can't do it by myself. Everybody hates y'all. Your criminal enterprise is coming down. I'm the Jenga piece. You keep pushing and pulling at me, and that's what happens. You know, you're if you can't see as many times as I'm quoting what you just said, and your whole little, you know, they're getting me people's names that are involved in your shit. Calvin, Blankenship, Desiree. I don't know those people. I've never met them in my life. So he just cut it off right there. I wasn't done. So there's more evidence Mr. Perry's hacking me. I mean, why the hell would you do that? So what I was saying is, we're getting information. I don't know those people. I've heard their names come up in police recordings. So you got police after you. They have recordings. And nobody's telling you anything, because I know y'all are calling all over the place. Is it you? Is it you? He's typing it in my phone. Who's telling on me? And is it El Paso police? Is it New York police? Is it Chicago police? Is it LAPD? Who is it? Nobody owes you any answers. You're not going to get any. It's a need to know. When they arrest you, then you'll know. All right? But we've all had enough of this. Hang on. Okay, see, this case right here is one that was decided by Judge Claire Egan in Tulsa Federal Court, North District of Oklahoma. And has some similarities to my breach of contract case. In that, so she denies that on res judicata. Well, first of all, it's the first time I sued for breach of contract, and the contract was the bond conditions where Mr. Perry agreed to leave me alone and didn't. This was dismissed with a phone call. I mean, Matthew Powell literally made a phone call and it got dismissed. Never a hearing, never nothing. The first, in order for there to be res judicata, you have to have a fair hearing and a fair trial and a jury verdict, and decide that you didn't like your jury verdict, so you're going to sue in a different court. So that didn't happen. There's been no jury, there's been no fair trial, no hearings, no jury verdicts, no nothing. Again, Mr. Perry he has a habit where he repeatedly repeats the same habit of concealment of material facts from the deciding body. I'm never in court. Everything I have to say, everything my witnesses have to say, everything of evidence-wise that I have to prove my case, I'm the plaintiff. The burden of proof is on me. I'm never there. So that's concealment of a whole lot of shit that everyone can see in the podcast. Everyone can see it all over the internet. Everyone can see it all over the blog. Everyone can see it all over the Facebook. You don't want the deciding body to see it. And Judge Cummings, you can't see it if you're out duck hunting, and that's where you sign off on an order. It's like Mr. Perry thinks that the court is a diner and the judge is his short order cook. And that's not what the court system was for, sir. So this case here, there was 2 or 3 things that this case is vastly different in her decision that she made than what she made on my case. I sent in, I went in and filed a whole bunch of evidence, like 500 documents or something. It was a huge stack. Anybody can pull the case up and look at it. In her ruling, she says Cynthia didn't provide any evidence. Well, then I file a motion to reconsider. Actually, I did, Judge. Look at it, please. One of them is Pinto. And there was never a decision as to whether or not the bond conditions constitute a contract. So that would mean that the agreement Mr. Perry made to leave me alone is legally binding to him, even though it was in my bond conditions, because my bond conditions weren't bond conditions, and I think probably everyone is aware of that. I was illegally detained. There was Mr. Powell filed a motion to dismiss. I was arrested for doing something that I have to do by law in the state of Oklahoma where I lived at the time and live now. And Mr. Perry went in and under oath, as did Josh Person, and lied. When they said there was a political vendetta, there's not one. There was never, ever any tweets, any emails, any texts, any conversations at all where Mr. Perry and I are arguing over a political issue. We're arguing over stalking. Stalking is not what you do to pass a law in Texas. That's what Lucky said. I've seen bond conditions before. This is a cover-up negotiation, not bond conditions. There was never a crime. So when you got sued, and then you had everything, in defiance of employer mutual benefits versus Bartle Roofs, it gets transferred over to Texas, where your buddy Cummings goes duck hunting with you and denies my claims. And you went in and did what you said you were going to do. That I said, used me as you claimed you're being harassed. That is, you again lied in court. That's fraud. That's perjury. I'll get into that in a second. But this one was a whole different one. So this ruling that she did, I filed a motion to reconsider and go, yes, Judge, I did actually put the evidence on file. You had it before. You've put this order out. Mr. Powell called over to the courthouse, and that call was recorded. And he said, apparently what happened, or a subsequent call, that I'm quoting Mr. Powell right now. Apparently what happened, Mr. Powell said, is she filed the evidence and it went on to the magistrate's desk. And no one told Judge Egan. So she was not aware of what occurred, that Cynthia had actually filed the evidence. So if I can get that information, Mr. Perry, somebody in law enforcement is investigating all of this, and they gave it to me. And you act like you have no idea what that means. You just go at it. You're just still doing the same thing. Stalking. Harassing. Coercing. Coercion is a criminal act. When you try to force someone against their will to do or say something they do not want to do by trying to intimidate me with, you bought a judge and you got, nobody heard me and you got my claims dismissed, and you think that's supposed to make me happy. Why would you think it would make me happy? I'd like to kick your teeth out for doing that to me. I'd like to. I'm not going to, but I'd like to. So, what? Not unless you come near me. If you come near me, I won't go where you are, but if you come near me, I've made it very clear I'll beat the hell out of you. I'm not going to wait to see what weapon you have on me, because I've heard a lot of conversations of y'all trying to figure out how to kill me and not be linked to you. So, that's going to be hard to pull off at this point. So, everyone wants to know, why did Judge Egan rule completely different in my case than she did on that? Everyone wants to know that. Did you buy her too? Yeah, okay, so this is the case where that would show that the court in Oklahoma, Northern District Court of Oklahoma, had jurisdiction over the first lawsuit I filed. It was basically malicious prosecution, civil rights violation of the 4th and 14th Amendments, the illegal arrest, the illegal detainment, the smear campaign you did, and you're trying to do another one. You have been since I was sitting in jail for the first one. Everybody knows that. It's been said over and over and over and over and over. And you love to lie in court. Perjury after perjury after perjury after perjury. It is your habit. You either lie or you conceal material facts that would change the outcome. That's why Officer Neely's in jail. And that's why the reporter said, we know they killed Chief Miller. We know they did. Because had they done what she said, had she been in court, and the jury still decided he was guilty, then maybe we wouldn't think so. But that's not what happened. He again will not let Miss Ortiz in court. Again. The 4 of them. It's not once. It's not twice. It's not a coincidence. It's not it just happened that way. 4 times Mr. Perry intentionally impeded her testimony. 4 times. 4 times. And she's broke because he wants to starve her into a lie. So we know they killed Chief Miller and framed Mike. And it is disgusting. It is disturbing that they would do that. That anyone would do that. So what else is he covering up? This is the tip of the iceberg. This is the tip of the iceberg. We've not begun to see it all yet. That's what she said. Do you understand? And some of that was in a context which I'm not able to legally disclose how that all came out. But her comments were appropriate and reasonable and prudent. Had you helped Mr. Neely get home, it'd be very difficult at this point to argue that you killed Chief Miller and framed him because you helped him get home. Clearly, you want to find out who really did that murder because it couldn't have been Mike. You can't beat someone to death and have not a mark on you. There was no drunken brawl. That was bullshit. Everyone wants to know who thought that up. Who thought up your story? Because it's, it's not even, I don't even know what to say. So this is the case on that. That said, the court where the injury occurred is the court that had jurisdiction. Different companies, incorporated and domiciled in different states, where a contract was signed in a different state, and the actual work that caused the injury, there was construction that didn't go right. It wasn't done properly, and there was an injury as a result in this case. And this court ruled, the 10th Circuit ruled, that the state where the injury occurred is the state that had jurisdiction, and yet that's not what happened to mine. Why? All these things were, there's the same courts ruling completely different ways, and there's several of them that the ruling specifically says this won't be used as precedence. You think? Because it's not legal. It's completely off from what everything else is. The thing is once it's been decided, it's been decided. I don't remember the legal term for that, but it's coming up now in the Roe versus Wade situation that the courts once it's already been decided, you don't change it unless there's a really good reason to change it. So we've got 2 situations here in which the courts ruled completely opposite as how they ruled previously. Judge Egan's case and this one. So you explain that to the media when that day comes, or to the judge when you're sitting in your criminal trial. You explain it, how that happened. How much did you pay that judge? $25 million is a whole lot of money to pay, and they're not not be a record of that money. I mean, you can't. That's a lot of money. You can't hide where you spent it, Mr. Perry. Now, this is the case for the default if you don't respond timely to a lawsuit. This one says you're being careless if you don't respond right. If you don't respond in a timely manner. I've got my little notes here all through this. And there was supposed to be a proper response from Mr. Goodwin, and then I was to respond to what he said, and then there was supposed to be another hearing, and there you could see the hearing bullshit on the docket, and wasn't one. All of a sudden, it's all dismissed. So then you guys were, when I put, I'm gonna file a motion to vacate on fraud 12/10/31 in the state case. I just put it on a tentative date on my calendar. You guys were recorded talking to Judge Morrissey about it. Judge Morrissey, she's about to file a 12/10/31. At which time she said, then I have to do a little better than it because it's frowned upon. Because that's what she has here in the ruling against Lady Godivas. It's frowned upon. When a motion default is no, but there's an appropriate time for it, and that's what this case is. And she ruled completely opposite of what this ruling was. Then we go to an appeal, and this is what you did to me on that. So I filed the 12-1031, and there's supposed to be hearing, and there wasn't. Patel versus OMH. Got to have a hearing. You have 2 years. Both of those two. It just gets dismissed again on December 17th. I'm supposed to go see my family on December 18th. You guys had a second false arrest planned there. But Mr. Perry got into my Dasher, Uber, whatever I did that day, whichever one I worked for that day, and I didn't make any money, so I didn't even have the gas money to go. Yep, because you like stealing from women and abusing women because you got mommy issues that you bother everybody else with. Like your trailer park trash. Jerry Springer show. So, I file this. My prosecutor, you see me in my house. You saw me talking to him twice. So, February 11th, 2022, my prosecutor calls me and he goes, they're going to impede your appeal. I've been sitting here listening to him talk about it all day long. They're going to take your money. They're going to get in the mail. They're getting your mail. Perry had your mail forwarded to him. They got a credit card. They cut it up and canceled your account. They're taking your money. So you may not be able to pull it off. But if you can at least get the DOR and the amended petition filed with the Tulsa County Court, don't walk it in, mail it. Then here's what I can do with that. I can prove you intended to appeal and they impeded it. And put it together with these recordings that we've gotten all day long. So that's what I did. I mailed it, and he said, make it an exhibit. And I made it. Here's the filing. I did actually get it filed. He was afraid I wouldn't even get the thing filed. What I did is I went up to Oklahoma City, and I filed it. I walked it into the Supreme Court in Oklahoma. I did mail it to the Tulsa County, just like he told me to do. And he said, it's going to cost you a little more, and it did. I get up to Oklahoma City and I get this filed, and I actually had to call my ex-husband and go, now I don't have gas to get home. He had to give me money to get gas to get home. It's that bad. They fucked with my money that bad. So then that's the mail they had forwarded. This goes to the Oklahoma. I have a protected address. Rebecca Schaefer was murdered by her stalker. And her stalker hired a private investigator who got her address from DMV records. So now most states have address confidentiality. I still participate in that. Where I am now, that's been changed. You're not supposed to know that. Murder in the first degree is serious, but you got a lot of that to explain. You don't even know yet. You don't know the half of it. So this actually goes to the Oklahoma Attorney General, and then they forward my mail to me. And Mr. Perry found out my address and had my mail forwarded to him. And I go outside and I see this, and I ask the postman about it. What's this? And he goes, well, your mail's being forwarded. And I go, to where? And he goes, I'm not sure, but I saw you standing here, so you're still here. I put the sticker on it, and I go, can you? I didn't fill out a forwarding address, anything. You're right. I'm here. There's nothing to forward anywhere. So, I guess he fixed it. But also, this one was received after our guys get a recording of them saying, we told them not to seal it, and we'll just say it fell out. And I'm not going to divulge any more than that. But again, there's a police department with that recording. And sure enough, this is not even sealed. There was nothing in that envelope. What was supposed to be in it? Money? See, you're getting my money. So, what I did is, this is the coaxing. Coaxing me to dance. Like you coaxed Mike Neely to go to Pensacola because you had a plan there to kill him. And to kill Chief Miller. How did you know Mike had to be begged to go? Who you wanted to know if I knew which one of you begged him to go. Yep. That's premeditation right there. Who are your other victims the witness was talking about? Who else are talking? Yep. Okay. So there's the exhibits. Exhibit F is the receipt to the Tulsa County Clerk. See? So what happened is they tell me they get it late, past the deadline. So our prosecutors we're looking into the mail. You don't file anything with the postal inspector. I'll file it. I'll deal with it. I got a guy I'll work with that they can't get to because they have too much of a bad habit of obstructing justice and investigations. And so you go in and you'll file a postal inspector complaint with the postal inspector for them getting in your mail, and they'll impede it. And sure enough, David did go to the airport post office and asked them if I filed anything or asked about it or talked about it. So they saw you doing that, David, and my guy says, well, we're gonna babysit it. I'm gonna babysit it. I'll have it looked into, because if you do it, they'll impede, they'll obstruct. That's kind of what they do. So then here's what happened. Okay, so then this is what happens is then when I'm trying to work, either my apps don't work at all. Mr. Perry, you see how he just cut off my recording? He'll just shut things off. They won't work. He's a hacker. He's cloned my phone. So if my phone is searched up, it's not likely they'll find anything on it. It would be on his phone because he's cloned my phone. He can do anything from my phone I can do. Do you know how creepy that is? Yeah, not a date. It is a crime, Mr. Perry. And you get told on when you fuck with me, and you have no idea. You act like you don't know what that means. So they look at these right here are from the other night, Tuesday night. Didn't make a dime. So normally you have to do orders that are $1.50 a mile or more. Otherwise, you're spending gas money and you're spending your time picking up a food from a restaurant and then taking it to a home. And if you're not making at least $1.50 a mile, you're not making any money. So they give you the mileage here. See, 4 miles, but it's not actually 4 miles. It's actually 8, because you're going to take the food 4 miles from the hot zone. You're going to drop it off, and then you got to drive back to the hot zone to get more orders, or you won't get orders if you're not in the right zone. So Mr. Perry, by the way, can't know which company. I've signed up for 3: Uber Eats, Grubhub, and DoorDash, and one other one I'm not going to talk about. What he does is you can't know which company I'm going to work for on any given day. Typically, that depends on how busy they are, or sometimes just what mood I'm in, or sometimes what threat he's made. What threat has he made that day? So what happens is you got a hacker that can tell what part of town you're working in, a hacker that can have his people call in order. DoorDash, or Uber Eats, and Grubhub said it is all chosen by algorithm. He's taking over the app and doing this he's taking over the app. So he's got his people ordering so that they can get her picture on the doorbell camera, or they all have reflective glass. Or it's hand me my delivery, so now I got a person that he hired to look at me, just like he hired Pinto and Mickey James and Terry Wagner and Mr. Roberson. So this is the right here. I can't make any money here. And normally you might get 1 or 2 like this a night or a day. You get 1 or 2. They were all like this. I think I had 5 I could actually do. I don't go to Chipotle and I don't go to Chick-fil-A at all. Doesn't matter. They could be $20 for 1 mile. I will not take those orders because we know those are his people. They've been recorded talking about it. Why won't she go to Chipotle? Why won't she go? Can we get her to Chipotle? I mean, they got a big thing about Chipotle, so I won't go there. Abuelo's the other night is based out of Lubbock. I go to Abuelo's, and they don't have the order ready. Actually, I couldn't even get anybody to fucking talk to me for a while. And then I go to the bartender, finally gives me a minute, and I need the order. And he says, "Oh, I'm busy right now. When I get around to it, I'll get it to you. I'll check on it." Wrong, dude. Wrong answer. So I unassigned that and took off. Went to the next one. So Did you call the bartender and tell him to say that to me? I mean, here's the thing. So for all the public that hears this, never order DoorDash at Abuelo's, because Abuelo's doesn't want to get your order to you in any kind of timely manner. When he gets around to it, then he'll get the order to the DoorDash person who's picking it up. Is that how Abuelo's is? Or did you tell that guy to do that one time? I mean, this is pathetic. It's very, very unprofessional. What's supposed to happen is you're supposed to walk in and the order's already ready. And you go in, you pick it up, and you take it. Because you got some customer who's ordered food and they're waiting for their food. So, that little stunt, I don't know what the hell that was, but we do know Abuelo's is owned by people who live in Lubbock. Abuelo's is a company from Lubbock. They have great Mexican food and terrible service. Terrible service. That was terrible service. That I had to wait probably 10 minutes to get anybody to even talk to me. And they're all telling me, go to the bartender, go to the bartender. Everybody else has a shelf. You go in, you go to the shelf, and you pick up the food. So I have to go to the bartender. I got to wait for him. Finally, when he gets to me, has the nerve to tell me that I'm busy. Are you? When I get around to it, I'll check on this DoorDash customer's order. When you get around to it. Wow. Okay, you and I won't be back in here. I will not do business with you again. If you're that pathetic and unprofessional, I don't want anything to do with your restaurant. And or if Mr. Perry's called you and told you to say that to me again, I don't want to be having anything to do with your restaurant. These where they're upside down, I'm going to lose money. I'm not going to make money on that. I'm not driving actually 8.6 miles. I'm driving 16 miles, 17 miles for $4. And how much gas? How much of my time? So Tuesday night, they didn't want me to make money. This is what happened on December 12th. I'm sorry, December 17th. She was supposed to be in jail and not able to appeal. Your guy, we recorded you. We recorded y'all saying that more than once. She was supposed to be in jail and not able to appeal. I'm actually good at what I do, or you wouldn't be too scared to let me into court. And you wouldn't do all these illegal, underhanded things that you do. And reporters are starting to notice something is wrong. Because it's happened over and over and over and over. And now it's not a coincidence. Now it's just not just happenstance. It is your habit. It is an intentional criminal act, and you're about to go to prison. And you substantiated the recordings my prosecutor got all day long on February 11th. And then on the 12th, he says, you called my landlord and told him to kick me out. Also a criminal act. What you are going to be charged with probably is harassment of my witness, tampering with my witness. The act is grand larceny with intent to coerce, or interference with commerce and contracts with intent to coerce. You're butting in. You're stealing from women. Can't you pick on guys? Are you too weak to pick on a man? Yep. Mommy issues. Okay, so this is what was going on in Manford. People pulling up like that to take a picture of me. And Laura talked about it here in her statement. Stephanie here's talking about a black Lexus with Texas plates that used to come around and creep everybody out. Everybody called them the Texas Mafia. Yep. Okay, so again, all of this is happening in the farm state of Oklahoma where I live. It's not happening in Texas. I don't go to Texas. Oh, speaking of which, the deal with Fabian. So I guess Mr. Perry told people, when I'm dancing, okay, when you're dancing, any dancer, you're going to get guys hit on you. They all want to take home a stripper. So, you make stuff up. Oh, I got a boyfriend. Oh, I'm married. Oh, you say anything. So, it's a blow-off line. Well, I guess Perry took that and went around and told everybody, see, she's telling people that she has a boyfriend. That means she thinks we're a couple. No, absolutely not. And I guess there was a conversation last night. I think he misinterpreted that. He wasn't even supposed to know about it. There's a lot of things Mr. Perry's not supposed to know anything about. He knows against my will. There's no intent. I have no intent that he even know, much less take it wrong. So yeah, when there was a customer come in and tell me he wanted me to go on a date with him, and I'm trying to blow him off, and I'm like, I know I got a boyfriend. You lie. You lie. Mr. Perry went around, took that then that he's not supposed to know about. He knows about it illegally through stalking. And went around and told everybody, see, we're a couple. See, she said she has a boyfriend. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Talk about delusional. Nope. You're not my boyfriend. It's a blow off. That's all that is. Second of all, if I wanted to get into, they started asking me more details. What does your boyfriend do? I would always talk, he's a strip club manager in Dallas. Well, that's not what you do. That is what Fabian does. Fabian is somebody that I had an interest in dating that you butt into. Fabian made me hope again because you were ruining my life. Fabian's name is on the puzzle, not yours. So if I did make up a boyfriend, because Fabian and I are not a couple. Fabian and I were trying to explore that. Then you impeded it. And you were recorded telling him. I'm going to find a way to put her back in jail, and she won't get out again. She won't get out this time unless she's with me. You need to give up. And you had no right to do that. You had no right to talk to him at all. It wasn't your place to say. My choice as to who I want to date, not yours. And it won't be ever you. You're a stalker. So, all of this, this statement wasn't heard in court. Did Judge Egan hear this? Did Judge Egan hear that? Did she see that? Nope. Didn't give me that chance. Did not give me that chance. You illegally robbed me of a fair court hearing and a fair court trial. And so when you throw it in my face, I win in civil court. That makes me want to slap you. I don't see that as a love gesture. I see that as a very hateful, rude, awful thing for you to do. And I'm going to deprive you of your legally, rightfully owned money from your parents, from your inheritance, from working, from what I should have paid you in a remedy in a court case, in a lawsuit, when I did something wrong to you and illegal to you. And instead starve you to death so you have to take a bribe and lie. Because I can control that. Stalking is about control. But when you do these things to me, most times we catch it before. We get it before. That's what this is. It was October. He's going to arrange a false arrest to try to coerce me. That's the McNamara email. Which you did then. Because I filed a police report in compliance with Oklahoma law. You knew it was the law because my first one was denied because I didn't have it in the courtroom. I didn't have it. I had a case number, but Judge Eyrick said, Marler versus Clower says you have to have the actual police report. So I can't grant it. This was, you're getting death threats of false arrest and death, which I was. I just showed that. Arsenic poisoning. I was getting awfully sick for no apparent reason at all whatsoever, but for somebody spiking my drink like you did Mike Neely's with opioids. What'd you do to Justice Scalia? William O. Ritchie. Why was, commander of D.C. Police? Why was protocol not followed post-mortem? You didn't follow protocol. He died in West Texas right when you were planning the second false arrest for harassment. We're going to harass the hell out of her, and then we're going to claim she's harassing us when she tells on us. I had that month before you did it in the civil case when Judge Cummings denied my case. The law says you have to file a police report. See, it's all here. Here's Judge Eyrick's order. There's the police report that I had to file by law, dated the 21st. And then the false arrest on the 29th. There has to be probable cause to take someone in, deprive them of their right to freedom, to take someone to put them in jail. First of all, there was no proper collection of evidence. See, she's asking for the evidence on the 15th of February. So, there was no blood test taken to see if I had arsenic or confirm it or rule it out, or if there was something else you were giving me, and you were just trying to scare me with arsenic. I mean, we don't even know to this day. Never was I tested. There was no collection of the video where I could sit down with a detective, the video on the night in question that I'm talking about here in my police report, where I'm sitting down with Detective Egan and saying, here's what happened, they did this and I did that, and here's what happened. And the text, I preserved the text. Mr. Powell didn't preserve the evidence. He had no intention to go into trial. This was simply an act of intimidation, and the threat made in the McNamara email I just showed that was sent on October 29, 2015. Not in any court have I been able to sit down and show this. And you think you're going to get a date with me, and you want to put this in my face, I won civil court. My guys gave you a gold star on their whiteboard where they have you and Richard. So there has to be probable cause. This is the charge, filing a false police report in retaliation for a public servant doing his job. Where's the text and the emails that are about your political career? Lucky and Mike said that. You don't pull up behind a woman's house and say that that's what you got to do to pass a law in Texas. So Mr. Perry, Mr. Burston, and Mr. Powell are unclear on what Mr. Perry's legislative duties are and what state he legislates in. She's in Oklahoma, not Texas. Texas can't make an act that is required by law in Oklahoma a crime. She didn't live in Texas. I gave the example of Walmart and Target. If I work at Target and Target says you got to take 3 10-minute breaks a day, it's a policy. We need you to clear your head. Walmart says you're only allowed 2. And the manager from Walmart comes over to Target and tells me on my 3rd break, you're fired. Well, first of all, I don't work at Walmart. I work at Target, so your jurisdiction, you don't have any here. You don't get to fire a Target employee. You don't work at Target. Second of all, it's required of me at Target. Yeah, okay. So the lawsuits were to remedy what you did to me here. I lost my home. My son had to explain to everybody why his mom was in jail for 2 months. And you obstructed justice. That's kind of your habit. This is the motion to dismiss. These are the bond conditions. This is the contract that I went to Judge Egan's court with and said they breached it. He said he'd leave me alone. And he planned that, by the way. 12/31/2017. November 14, 2017. April 11, 2018. They're going to use me as a test case before the Supreme Court. They're going to send me home, harass the hell out of me, and then claim they're being harassed when I tell them. Provoking, entrapment, selective prosecution, all kinds of things apply right there, and premeditated fraud upon a court. And Justice Scalia died in West Texas while you were planning to do this to me. Guess what? Even prisoners are repulsed by guys like you. The prisoners, the inmates told me what you were going to do. It was all over the jail. And those people went home. Now, I promise you, it's already all over Lubbock. It's probably been around town 2 and 3 and 4 or 5 times. So I don't know who you think you're fooling. You win civil court? When have I been in civil court for you to win? You can't beat me if you don't let me play the game. And you didn't let me play the game. So you didn't win shit. But what you did is you get told on more because you pissed everybody off. You pissed everybody off like a motherfucker. Normal people do not like your cruelty. They don't like it. So, fuck you. Okay, and TPD, you are not to give a police report of a domestic violence victim over to the offender. Hold on and I'll show you how you're supposed to do that, okay? It's called Policing 101, dumbasses. You pissed everybody off. This is the National Stalking Resource Center for victims of stalking. Connecting the dots, TPD, is what you're supposed to do when you have a police report on stalking. Not, let's give it over to the offender and let him obstruct justice and destroy evidence and commit perjury. My evidence was destroyed. Tampering with evidence is a crime. You didn't win shit, Perry. Tulsa police owe me an apology, at least. I didn't sue them. I have actually covered their asses, and I didn't know them that. There's a strategy involved with that, though. Use of technology. This one talks about hackers using technology to stalk. Showing up where I am, and you shouldn't know where I am. Yep. This is the guy who beat someone to death right before this picture was taken. Does it look like he was in a fight? Point out for me the injuries on Officer Neely. It looks like he was even in a fight, much less beat someone to death. Internal decapitation, blunt force trauma to the head, strangulation. Where's the thump on his head that made him unconscious and knocked out and in respiratory distress. Oh God, they're not one. He was given opioids. The fight was between Lucky Miller and the offender. What'd you give Mike to make him pass out? So I said it months before. Again, we go with before because I have help. This is the one of getting me kicked out of my house. You tried it last year and then you did it this year. We can't get her kicked out because of the COVID moratorium. So even if we starve her to death and she can't pay her bills and we interfere with that contract that she signed and made it where she can't fulfill the terms of the contract. So let's do it on the smoking. Yep. And you got recorded. And she did exactly what you told her to. Okay. This is in March 2020. He was drugged. Florida State's attorney. He could not have done this. And you didn't give him a full tox panel in a timely manner. He got it at the hospital after Narcan had been administered and changed the chemical composition of his blood. So we needed the chemical composition of his blood while he's knocked out and unconscious and in respiratory distress to determine what condition the blood was in that made him, what was in his blood, how much of it was in it to make him be unconscious. Once he's given Narcan, he came to. It altered the effects of the opioids and he's come to. Too late now. Now we've suffered degradation of the evidence that would have proved there's no way. Well, not that you can't just look at him. Everybody wants to know what the fuck was wrong with the jury that they can't just look at him and go, well, you can't beat somebody to death and look like that. But he was unconscious. Mr. Neely, Officer Neely, was found unconscious and in respiratory distress. What caused him to be in that state? How do you beat someone to death looking like that? Where's the thump on his head? He wasn't knocked out in a fight. He was given drugs. Lucky was yelling at the offender, stop it, and yelling to Mike, Mike, are you okay? And witnesses got up and testified that they were yelling, stop it, Mike. Bullshit. There's no visual context to put with the utterance. Bullshit. If that was even said. He's yelling stop it to the offender who gave Mike drugs, knocked him out, and Lucky started fighting with the murderer at that moment. What did you give him? Then Hotel John comes up. Lucky will not open the door any more than what you can see his face. He doesn't need to hide Mike. Mike's the other registered guest in the room. Who is he hiding? Who is he hiding? Mike is passed out already at this point. You don't have an angry drunk, dead quiet, and nobody heard Mike say peep. He said nothing. He said nothing. You killed Chief Miller. You're a killer. You killed a cop. You think other cops can't look at this all over the country and see what they did, what you did? They can, and they hate you for it. They hate you. It's not hard to get information. Now, again, pay attention to the words I'm saying. I don't care what you think. Didn't ask you what you think. Neil, I asked you to leave me the fuck alone. When you contact me, when you peep on me, when you hack me, when you cause me loss and hardship, what happens, sir, is you get told on. You get caught. You don't get a date. You're not loved and wanted. I don't want you. I don't like you. You're a stalker. Stalking, peeping, hacking, coercion, witness tampering, fraud upon the court, perjury, obstruction. You obstructed both of my police reports. The one I filed with Officer Neely and the first one filed with TPD. TPD helped you, kinda, if they handed you the report. Although they hand you the report, what you do after that isn't in their control, is it? But they should have handed you my report. I didn't sue him, though. What I told TPD is, I'm not going to sue you, Jerry Bender. I'm just going to out-cop you. I'm happy to make your guys look stupid. I'm happy to do it. And my bank account and where I live and what I drive is a reflection of my success. That I'm doing what's not been done before. Or you wouldn't attack me. Would ya? Wouldn't need to. You're not attacking some random chick in Iowa or Ohio. You're attacking me. Because I'm catching your crime. And I'm doing exactly what I told Jerry Bender I would do. I'm not going to sue you. I'm going to out-cop you. I'm going to show you how to do it right. Because you didn't do it right. You put my life at risk. And there is a chief of police and an Officer Neely who paid a price for your fail. And I'm sick at my stomach that you did that to him. And what you're doing to me. And then I lost my home. Because I won't lie for you. And it was my great honor. Now I can say I told you so. You proved out more recordings. On the 12th of February, you called my landlord and told him to kick me out. And then you did it. He did it for you. So now I can go, well, I told you so. More car accidents that I know what to do about. I mean, God, look. We're going to take her car, even though it's illegal. I'll have it towed and sold before she figures out it's not legal. Yup. The forged marriage license and the forged power of attorney, I need to see that. I didn't sign it. It is a crime to sign someone else. It's a forgery. That's another criminal charge, Charles. First, there's this. They throw a brick at me on the freeway. It cracks my engine in two. It could have been my head. Had I not gone out, had I gone right instead of left, I'd be dead. Most likely. Then I get a new car, and they have that wrecked. Right at the wheel. Then I get another new car, and they have that wrecked. Right at the wheel. Well, I'm sorry, in between that, on July 3rd, they didn't want me to go to Manford and compare notes with Jerry. I get hit right at the wheel. And then again, a couple of weeks ago, I'm hit. He missed. He tried to hit the wheel. To make sure we get all our facts right, this here, I was backing in to a parking place next to the garbage, and I accidentally scraped it a little bit. You can see it. So that was me. I did that. But your guy did this. And you can see the bumper marks all the way across here because he backed into me, jumps out of his car, and starts yelling, "You hit me. Call the cops." And I said, "No, I don't call the cops over a fender bender like this, a little scrape. You got a little scuff there. We're not bleeding. Patrol, I've raised in 4 generations of police. Let's not waste patrol's time on something like this because you can, walking off a police report into the office, you don't, which I did here. I actually walked it in. I didn't even call 311. I didn't call 911. I walked it in because you can do that. Grown-ups can do that. Those of us who don't play with little, dolls and unicorns and can think for ourselves. This guy, you can't back into someone's bumper with the side of your car. You can't do it. See? That's he hit me. You sent him. And you sent him by using my DoorDash app to see where I was at. Right? Did you do it with my DoorDash app or my Uber Eats app or my Grubhub app to see where I was so you could send him to hit me at that moment? Yep. I recreated the whole thing. And what I did is I asked the man, text me a picture of the damage on your car. Now watch, I'll never hear from him again. Sure shit. Haven't heard a word. Haven't heard a word. He probably filed a false police report. And then there's this yesterday. We're going to take her taillight out. You did take my taillight out. I fixed it. It's the second time that's happened. Get her taillight out and have her pulled over. Then it was get her headlight out and have her pulled over. Then it was get her battery out, replace it with one that doesn't work so her car won't start. Mechanical problems. Radiator hose with poked in. One of my cars, you drained all the oil out. I went out one day and there was no fucking oil in my car. So, all of that is illegal. It's property damage. It's vandalism. You're going to jail. It's stalking. It's harassment. Jody Arias slashed Travis Alexander's tires, hacked his email, and then murdered him. Yeah. So this was yesterday. They flattened my tire. I went to try to get it aired up, and I hit a bump and it came off the rim. So they flattened it though. And this was my landlord. I could sue her for breaching the lease. But I didn't provide a safe living environment for her. So if she smoked in the house, that's why. Yep. Then he's speculating if I hadn't done the one on the COVID when we shouldn't have done it. Yep. That's the landlord trying to figure out how to get himself out of the mess you got him in. And there's my bumper. Not a mark on it. I didn't back into shit. Not a mark on my bumper. Your guy. You did it again. And this was lucky. They said they wanted to get her on harassment, but became obvious to us pretty quickly. He's the one harassing her. She didn't bother anybody. She never called us. I called him that one time 6 days before he died. You were obstructing justice again, weren't you? You just killed somebody this time. But you've killed a lot of people. Justice Scalia. What'd you give him? You like poisons, you like toxins, you like arsenic, you like opioids, you like switching drugs out, you like shots and needles. That's your methodology. That's your MO, huh? My guy says, I'm not worried about him coming up to you and shooting you with a gun. I'm worried about a syringe. So if he gets anywhere near you, you beat the fuck out of him. Don't wait to see what he's got on him to kill you. Don't let him get anywhere near you. Take him down. Call cops. Wait till they get there. But don't you let him get near you. So you better have a football helmet on. There won't be a hug fest. I'll fuck you up. You'll get the shit beat out of you. Don't come anywhere near me. I do not like you. You guys are caught more than ever in your lives when you fuck with me. When Charles invades my privacy, anybody invades my privacy by hacking, by peeping, by any way at all, stalking. When he causes loss and hardship and drama for me, all of a sudden we get what you just said before you do it. Like the McNamara email, and the harassment emails, and the Mike was drugged email, and the ringtone email, and the shoe print email. And they get her battery out and take her headlights out emails. On and on and on. Thousands and thousands of them. Which law enforcement agency has the actual recordings? Because I'm typing up an email of a recording they played for me. The prosecutor on the 11th. All day long they talked about impeding your appeal. When I'm in court, Mr. Perry, and you let me play the game, then you can say you won. It's like playing chess against yourself and going, I won. Stupid. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. I am home. I don't like you. You butt into Fabian. My decision on who I want to be with, and it'll never be you. Do you understand? Now, leave me the fuck alone. You sick son of a bitch. Stalking, peeping, hacking, coercion, witness tampering, those are criminal acts, not a date, you dumb fuck. Leave me alone.